Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat19, a podcasty-style thingamajig featuring the players, and this time DM, that you love from Nat19. Here we'll be delving into your most burning questions you've submitted using the questionnaire form in this video's description, as well as on our Twitch page. I am your host, Chase, also known as Coffin Jockey, and I am joined today by some lovely, lovely people. How about you guys introduce yourself, as well as a little bit of info about your character and/or your favorite character from the campaign. I don't know which way y'all are gonna go with this, but I'm making Logan choose between his children, so that'll be fun.
No!
Hayden, you go first.
Hello! Hi, guys. What's up, y'all? I'm Hayden Daviau. I play Aviana Kalesh on Nat19, or Vestige of a Fucus, and she is a Hanyo rogue vigilante. And she's a big old bird and problem, but I love her.
I've heard about the bird elements.
Yes.
Obviously, secondhand. I've never experienced
Obviously.
firsthand.
Yuck. It's a joke that's been made before.
Okay, Logan.
And
go.
yo, what up? I'm Logan. I'm the DM of Vestige of a Fucus, as well as other Nat19 things, but currently only Vestige of a Fucus. And as for my favorite character, the easy answer is Tantia, but it's not. That's not true even. It's Lyra. Or is it Scandal?
Which
That's the
beautiful
easy
lady
answer.
Oh, fuck.
Just go for the suck-up answer and say Aviana.
That's my favorite character that I've made is Aviana.
Yeah.
I didn't say that you made, just your favorite character.
We're gonna go with Lyra.
Yeah.
Because
Logan's
Lyra is everything I want in a D&D campaign condensed down into one character. It's Lyra. Full stop.
Logan's like, I'm Logan and my favorite character is Donatello from the most recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have a bunch of wonderful questions from some wonderful people, and I'm going to start asking them to y'all. The first question is for Logan.
Oh my goodness.
Dear Logan, how much does Mary Mist's inability to speak hamper her magical studies? Does she often have frustrations about this handicap, or has she bypassed / gotten used to it?
Okay, this is a fairly straightforward one. So Mary Mist's inability to speak does not hamper her magical studies. In fact, her inability to speak is part of why she tried to learn how to do magic, because it felt like a different way she could express herself. There's a lot of stuff about Mary Mist that hasn't happened in game, because they effectively just abducted her from the Crystal Queen's palace whenever they were there, and they have not made a point of asking Mary Mist at any point about why they were there or what their relationship was. They just sort of saved her, and then were like, cool, you're with us, you're cute. And she was like, cool. Except she can't talk, so it was but and then writes it in the air. But no, she actually became interested in magic because she can't speak, and she has bypassed it. She uses writing. She's developed the ability to just, similar to magic like prestidigitation, she writes arcane symbols in the air and writes the formulas for spells and whatnot as a means to cast them, replacing the verbal components. And I've made a feat for this, which people can do so that if they ever are muted or can't speak, they can use that sort of thing to cast magic without the verbal components, called sign casting. And yeah, it's she's used to it. It's how things have always been for her. She's been mute her entire life. It doesn't frustrate her. In fact, it's a source of pride that she can do that. She's also a very tepid individual as far as extreme emotions go, so she doesn't get frustrated usually unless she's not allowed to read, because she's pretty much obsessed with reading. But yeah, no, it's not something that bothers her at all. She's living her life and she's very happy despite being mute.
Heck yeah. This is like a me question, but did she develop that herself, or did she learn it from someone?
She developed that herself. She just, once she learned how to cast certain magic, because she's a wizard, is ultimately what her class is. Even though she's an NPC, she's a wizard. She began getting into magic because she liked to read, and she started reading spell books, and she understood them, but she couldn't cast most of the things in them But certain spells do not require the ability to speak, so she could dabble with those. And eventually, after she got good enough with magic that she could just create little motes of light effectively and leave small trails in the air, she started figuring out how to do the incantations otherwise. Because spells don't require any particular language most of the time, so the general understanding and theory behind that is that as long as she represented the verbal components, then they should work. And she turned out to be correct.
That's really heckin' cool. I didn't actually know that about that character. That's neat.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Mary Mist is a big old cutie. She's also a nice antique, so she's just naturally magic.
That was probably helpful in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Also, this is just a me thing. Being completely outside of Nat19, I hear antique, and I don't think of the setting term for it at all.
That's fair.
I'm just like, plus she's old, and I'm like, oh, well.
She's just cold and old.
Oh. The biggest twofer in all of Ophiuchus. Next question is for Avi. Dear Aviana, of the current party members, who do you think you'll grow the closest to over the campaign? Who are you most likely to like?
Ooh. It's interesting. Of the current party members, right now, she definitely feels closest to, surprising, Miriam and Lexi. She really, she feels kind of connected to Miriam in the sense that, like, not even taking into account recent things, like in the most recent episode, but in the sense that he kind of saw right through her. They had a good connection at the manor together, and he was very not Miriam about it. So I'm hearing myself through Logan, and I'm like, ah.
Unforgivable.
I know, it's the worst. My voice likes to cut through his headphones. But she feels very connected to Miriam in the sense that he actually let his Miriam walls down around her and was very genuine with her and was just like, this is this. And he was very, very upfront with her, and that kind of made her feel comfortable around him. Also, he was just like, hey, so I see exactly what you're doing, and I see that all of your walls are up all the time, and that you're just not trusting anybody. And that call out really kind of woke her up a little bit, so she feels very connected to him in the sense that he gets her in a way that she's not used to people getting her so quickly. And while it kind of freaks her out, she does like that about him. He frustrates her to no end. But I think that's a part of her that she's like, I like friends who I can kind of rib, and while his flirtations are annoying, she's like, I'll just punch you. I'm comfortable enough around you to punch you in the stomach. Mm-hmm. And with Lexi, she feels very, almost kind of protective of her, in a sense, because Avi doesn't know how old Lexi actually is. I, Hayden, as a player, am aware. Mm-hmm. Avi very much, trying to think how she feels about Lexi. She feels very accepted by her. She feels like Lexi just kind of has like that easy energy to be around while she's like, okay, your questions are a lot and this is kind of weirding me out. Not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of the questions. She does find Lexi kind of easy to be around and just nice. Like, she just has like a good energy that I think Aviana kind of needs. She needs kind of like that little bright point. And I think she's really finding that with Lexi, and she's finding someone in Miriam that she can kind of talk to on kind of a genuine level, being like, he's a lot, but she does find she can really just kind of talk to him. So that's the long answer, but yeah. And who am I most likely to like? That kind of falls under that, is that she really likes them. I want to see, for many reasons, I want to see Aviana and Quintus get to know each other better. Because right now he has had a moment where he's been like a little bit kind of softer with her, which she likes. That's kind of what she looks for in just people. But I would like for Aviana and Quintus to get to connect a little bit more in the future.
I would also be really interested in that, understanding as much as I understand about Quintus and how Quintus is.
Yeah.
And and also the little bit of Avi that I got to see in the side campaign. That'd be very interesting to see that level of energy next to Avi's level of energy.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I'm about it.
Yeah.
Next question is a follow-up question in a way for Aviana.
Aw.
Dear Aviana, out of everyone in the party, who are you most likely to date?
Oh boy. See, this is a question that I'm like, probably none of them if she gets her way, but speaking in just kind of fun terms, who would she be most likely to date? I don't think Miriam. I'm gonna say right now, I don't think she'd end up dating Miriam. I don't know how that relationship is gonna develop, but after last game, there are some different thoughts she's having about Miriam, which I'm not gonna go into because I'll touch on that in game. Most likely to date, I would say Fenris, but Fenris is dating her ex, and that's a whole bag of worms.
That's
a
fair.
whole conversation that needs to be had.
I love that this question is like, the whole party's full of cuties, who you want to date? And you're like, it's a race to the bottom. First of all, it's a race for last place. Nobody's getting it.
As of right now, I can't see her dating anyone in the party, but also Aviana is very, very demisexual in the sense that she really needs to know someone before she can develop those feelings. Like with Tantia, like she knew her for a good chunk of time before she was like, oh, these are feelings. So she very much needs to know people because, trusting people is hard, especially in her situation. So as of right now, I don't know, but I can say not Miriam or Fenris as to where they stand right now. She thinks Vogan's attractive though. Like she's aware that they're all very attractive. They're all very attractive people. She's just not attracted to them. Like they're very attractive, she's just not attracted.
I was gonna say, haven't heard Vogan come up yet, so interested to hear about that. But then, yeah, that's.
I mean, first time she saw Vogan, he was like in his like boxers and like a tank top, like in his underclothes, and she's like, cool, nice. But also, this is the first time I'm meeting this dude. What the fuck? But yeah, no, attractive, not attracted as of right now. So I don't know. There is a person she has her eye on who's not in the party.
Go on.
What? You want me to answer that part of the question, Logan? He's not in the party. It's not part of the question.
Okay, but who is it? That's a follow-up question. Who is it?
She has very deep feelings for her best friend Rory, who is a guard of the Platinum Watch. They pretty much grew up together. And they've known each other since she was like 10, I think. So
okay, very quickly, just so that I can get this part out of the way. Dear Aviana, how do you feel about Rory? Please continue.
Well, you see. No, she cares very, very deeply for him. Like even if it like never led to anything romantic, while she does have very deep romantic feelings for him, which I've basically said in so many words in campaign, so I don't mind saying that. And also I'm a gremlin about it, so it's fine. Shut up, Logan. She does have very deep feelings for him, and she loves him a lot. Like he frustrates the crap out of her because he's a big old Boy Scout, and she's like, cool, but crime though. Well, her whole thing with crime is that it's for her own survival, and now it is for the survival of those in the electory district and people who can't fend for themselves. She wants to help them so then they can at least get on their feet. And Rory, she loves that he has this this sense of justice about him, and that he does really, really care about people. And that's something that it's like, yeah, we're both kind of defending our city in different ways. We're looking out for people in the ways that we know how. And he's imparted a lot of, like, his outlook on life has definitely affected her in a lot of ways. I think she'd be a lot more of a drastic person, probably a lot more violent if he hadn't come into her life when he did. But yeah, she really loves him. Whether it ends up being romantic or not, I think no matter where it leads, she will always really care for him and she will always really love him. So, yeah. It's her best friend.
Last follow-up question, just in case that changes anything. Dear Hayden, how does Aviana actually feel about Rory? Just to see if that changes the answer in any way.
He's a big old butthole. There you go. No.
Got him!
Got him! No, that's pretty much it. She cares a lot about him. And, you know.
That's totally fair.
Might want to smooch him. There you go.
Maybe just a little bit of smooching.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I have now a question for Logan.
Oh, God.
Before Hayden / Aviana questions, while Logan has his mouth full. Dear Logan.
What are you talking about?
As a GM, it's a common theme that the players will do something unexpected that can change the course of the current event or even overarching story. Is there a moment where the Nat19 players have completely caught you off guard?
Well, there's certainly been... Okay, so... There's a lot of DM stories out there about DMs that are like, I didn't expect my players to do this, and it's completely changed the direction of things. But I don't plan campaigns with any regard to what I want to have happen, so I'm almost never caught off guard, just purely for the sake of the fact that I don't have a roadmap. I definitely have events that happen that keep things going towards a certain destination, but oftentimes if it goes in a different direction, I'm like, that's fine, whatever. But as far as them doing things that I didn't expect that have major implications, Raleigh dying when he did, and then the group immediately having access to the Esper caused this, like, combination of situations where they had to go to the Crystal Queen's palace. And as I've said before, the Crystal Queen is kind of this thing that I'd been seeding it. People knew about it, but I didn't expect it to, like, her to actually appear in any capacity for, like, years, like, of us playing the campaign. So, whenever they did that and they went there, and then not only did they go there, but because I had to, like, make her castle, I already had, like, a general idea, because okay, so when I make maps, I normally, like, for, like, important locations, I have generally made sketches of what buildings and whatnot look like, just so I know how NPCs' areas function. I had to, like, actually create it. And when I did, I put in the necessary things to be like, the Constella query that she is currently holding on to is in this room, and there was, like, a series of events that would be needed to open it, and there was a lot of rooms, but they seemed to almost gravitate immediately to going into a random room, finding the exact piece of information they needed to open the vault where it was, and then seeming to almost immediately be like, walk down a hallway and be like, what's this room? And then be like, oh yes, this opens us, opening it, finding the Constella query Miriam is now holding, and then not having any idea what the importance of it was. Just being like, you know what, we just found some magic armor in here, we're gonna take it with us. She'd already hate us if she found out we were here anyway, so what have we lost? So them doing that, meeting the Crystal Queen, bumping into Almyra there, and also heckin' Fallsbin and Skimper, and then stealing a Constella query from the Crystal Queen after literally 2 months ago in the timeline, possessed Raleigh had stolen 2 others from her. I think that was the biggest thing where I was like, okay, I've got to make some stops on the roadmap, because they have just added the Crystal Queen trying to hunt them down while they go about their business to the campaign. And I did not expect that. That was one of the... I was actually really happy about it, because I could then just have an antagonist who was too aloof to actually come and do anything about it themselves, but powerful enough that they could be like... be very Rita Repulsa about it and be like, you monster! Go after them! And then they have to deal with that. But I think that's the biggest thing. Beyond that
was something I was very curious about, not knowing that you had to hit them against the Crystal Queen so quickly. Did you feel like you had to pull a lot of punches that you otherwise wouldn't have in that fight?
I played that whole situation to what it should be. They encountered a couple of the things that were dangerous in there. They actually were very smart in that the group knew they were out of their depth, So they were, like, pretending to be other people while they were there. They were avoiding any major confrontations, only taking on things they thought they could. And they got really lucky with a lot of rolls. And by the time the Crystal Queen actually came after them, they had the distraction of a white dragon that the Crystal Queen had imprisoned being released simultaneously, so that distracted her for all of a turn, until she proceeded to one-shot this dragon. And then it became a case of, by that point, they were all fleeing to the exit, and the encounter, quote-unquote, with the Crystal Queen ended up being them running down hallways as she approached them and was catching up to them, and she caught up just in time for them to pass through this gate back to where the Esper was. Like an actual, like the gate is in similar to the spell, not as in like an archway. And the Crystal Queen like launched a barrage of ice, like a wave of ice at them, and Elmira was like, "Oh yeah, well, lightning," and they clashed. And that was kind of the climactic, we just got away, like they got through the gate, it closed, but in its place these spikes of ice were still reaching through that had just made it in past them. So I never had to like play down the Crystal Queen, and I was very prepared for if she caught them for it to be a, well, you've traded one person for Raleigh, haven't you guys? But they managed to treat it with enough gravity that they never thought we should try to tank this person, and they got away without... It was a case where there was a lot of prudence. It was more of a horror theme when they were there, because they were, like, avoiding her when she was around. It was, okay, we need to hide. They never approached it from the RPG angle of, like, there's the boss! Let's get him! Which... I actually think that was one of the first times in Nat19 that I felt like the campaign was going to function the way that I was hoping it would. Because they were... not approaching it from the fate perspective of, oh, everything big can still be beaten. They were approaching it from, we are people, this is beyond us, we need to approach this differently, which I was very happy about.
That's good.
It's really cool.
I'm very proud of Cody for not charging bravely into battle immediately.
Quintus wasn't quite suicidal by that point, and he's pulling that back too, but yeah, I think even Cody knew that trying to fight the Crystal Queen was... like with anything, they, in theory, had a chance. She could keep Nat 1ing, and they could keep Nat 20ing 20 times each. It could happen.
Yeah.
But, they seemed to all understand that this was the equivalent of encountering Strahd at level 2. So...
yeah. I'm glad that tone was properly represented.
And they got to interact with her and, like, trick her a little bit on certain occasions. And there's been major repercussions. It's not like they got out and everything was okay. They, like... Miriam now has to always be attuned to the amulet of protection against detection and whatnot. Because if he takes it off, the Crystal Queen's going to know where he is and come after him. So he's basically permanently sacrificed an attunement slot to deal with the Crystal Queen.
That is fair.
Yeah.
I'm glad that that's working out for him so far, and that there hasn't been any immediate major repercussions for their actions, such as instantaneous death of a party member.
Do you want to know a fun fact about it, though?
Go on.
He got that from the family whenever they were becoming allies, begrudgingly, and they made a point of informing him that the amulet would, however, allow the family to know where he was at all times. They are no longer on good terms with the family, so Miriam's been very much like, I keep this, and the mob knows where I am at all times, or I get rid of it, and the Vampire Queen knows where I am. And he's had to deal with the fact that it is a double-edged sword, neither of which is cutting the enemy at the moment.
That's a very good time. There are very, very defined stakes for that, and I'm about it.
But yeah, I think that's, to rewind, I think that's the biggest thing that caught me off guard was that they ended up going to the Crystal Queen's palace and the ripple effects that that's had on the campaign.
That's entirely a good time. Speaking of the Crystal Queen, dear Logan, are Boof and Hairlie, the most trusted and elite servants of the Crystal Queen, also lovers?
They are not.
What?
They're just a couple of werejackals that heckin' are employed by the Crystal Queen, and they are good best friends, is what they are.
I see. Well, I'm sure that their many fans and shippers will be somewhat disappointed to know that it's not canon. But I'm
so
sure
sorry.
the AUs will persist nevertheless.
Ah, yes, Boof and Hairlie. Fan favorite characters, Boof and Hairlie.
It's my favorite tag on Tumblr. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure everyone is just dying to see the merch in the store for Boof and Hairlie, everyone's favorite ship.
I'm waiting for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that we would
Bated
all
breath.
purchase merch of this amazing ship, which has so much obvious chemistry that I know about from my time not watching the show. Last sequential question for Logan. Dear Logan, Nat19 often has displays of fierce competition and dazzling merit. Who do you think would win in a fierce and dazzling drinking competition?
If it's a drinking competition,
Yes.
then probably Quintus. If we're just going off of statistics, if we're going off of who they are as people, Miriam should win.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Okay,
Miriam
that's totally
seems the
fair.
most like Miriam should be able to hold their liquor the best.
He has the most experience in that specific field, one could argue.
Yeah, but it's one of them, especially because they have a history of being pretty uproarious as far as like partying and celebrating goes. Like they describe themselves often as like having had a period in their life where they were the nobleman equivalent of frat boys. So they, I think that them.
Surprise curveball on this question.
Oh.
Who do you think would win in a competition, a drinking competition between all of the highest standard, and also including into the drinking competition, Stradivarius, the Tenebros, and the Crystal Queen?
Oh my goodness. Oh geez.
Answer
who of them would
wisely,
win?
Logan.
I feel, if I might lend a hand by my own
Yes.
logic, I feel like at a certain point, it comes down to a matter of how much mass can you store.
I feel like it's
because
Stradivarius.
some of them are just, I bet, immune to poison.
Well,
I feel.
Stradivarius, Tenebros, and the Crystal Queen. It's no secret the Crystal Queen is a vampire. One has to, if you're considering statistics, that's one thing. If you're considering lore, what is alcohol poisoning to someone who doesn't really care for blood, who does not have much blood to speak of? I think so. They've got that. Tenebros has not to give anything directly away, but their statistics are not unlike that of a dragon. So they probably could just statistically tank it. I feel like if between the three of them, Tenebros would probably the lightest weight of the three. But then Stradivarius is a big chunky boy. If we're using in-universe logic, yeah, Stradivarius, he could... It's just a lot less for him overall.
Yeah. It's just sheer mass.
By the same logic
Not
that
so much
like
storage.
little guys can't drink much and big guys can drink a lot, Stradivarius is a fucking... He is a big chunky boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
don't we know that, Chase?
What? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never.
Oh,
Not
you
one.
know.
Of course not.
Never.
Of course not. Never.
Never!
I'm about that idea. I would love to see. It would never happen, but I would love to see such a drinking competition.
If they're doing shots, like everyone is doing like an equivalent amount of shots, his shots are just a full tankard.
That's just not
Yes.
fair in that case of like that's so much more alcohol than like a beer and
Yeah,
it's
man.
so much less mass. It's so much less fluid.
Guy?
Stradivarius is just toying with them,
Drunkavarius.
offering shots at that point.
Yeah, man.
Just, I feel like he would just at a certain point when everybody's starting to like flag in their ability to drink because it's just so much sheer alcohol, Stradivarius would just swallow a whole fifth of a bottle and like bottle and all and making eye contact with everybody and just like your move, guys.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm about it.
I like this. Our Stradivarius headcanons are getting out of control.
Yes, absolutely.
There's
I feel like
too
it'd be of all of the characters I've introduced outside of the highest standard, I feel like Stradivarius would be the easiest to goad into a drinking competition by just implying that he couldn't possibly win at it. And then he would have to participate,
Fucking
obviously.
destroy us.
And his arm is twisted.
Of course, bound by his own pride and hubris and such, he must partake of the drinking competition. He couldn't possibly take any other action. We know this for certain.
Yeah. Personal experience and all, you know.
Absolutely. Next question is for Aviana. Dear
How dare.
Aviana, of all the members in Sister Valdis and the Suicide Squad presented by Sister Valdis featuring Sister Valdis, who would you want to become a part of the highest standard?
This is a good question, because I've actually thought about this. So, logically, it would be probably Elma is like the easiest answer because she is already living with Argo and Tantia, right? So she would be the easiest to just have join because she's there, and it would make the most sense.
Small side question for clarification. Are Argo and Tantia already members of the highest standard?
Well, let me explain here something for you, Chase.
Yeah, you'll go ahead and give us some explanation
So they're Iocane, which is their own guild.
Okay.
However, the guilds recently decided to merge. As in, Argo decided that the guilds should merge because he wants into the Platinum District. So, which makes sense, so they have better jobs. So I think easiest answer would be Elma because she's already staying with them. But I think Omar would be really fun. I think he would just kind of fit the vibe. I can't see Hanzo joining the highest standard.
Just to be fair, this question, for the sake of clarification, this question isn't necessarily who is the most likely to become a member, but is more if you had the entire say over the matter, who is joining the highest standard if Avi gets her way?
If someone had to join and be compliant about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, if Aviana getting to choose anything regarding the highest standard is hilarious to me. I don't get a say, you see. My friends chose me.
I feel like if Avi just like very confidently pointed at someone and is like, they need to join the highest standard, Quintus. I'm putting my foot down. Quintus would probably. I think
Probably.
Quintus might say yeah. Like that might happen.
I think, honestly, I would want Omar to join the highest standard. I'm gonna be so real. Like, I think also Aviana would. I think from character perspective, she wouldn't want Elma to join the highest standard. Not yet, at least. Not yet, at least. Because she sees too much danger. She's like, I see baby. You're very strong and like so like you're killing it, kid. But you're also a kid.
Yeah.
And
murder is wrong.
And murder is wrong. I should.
Yeah, Avi is the first to go to bat against the concept of murder.
That's a fun. But heckin', I think Omar would be who I'd want to join. I would say Hanzo, but here's why not, is I just don't think he would put up with the bullshit.
I think
very
you're
well.
probably right, especially based on backstory stuff. I don't know how cool Hanzo is with like humans generally.
Yeah, man.
I don't personally know that all that well. I don't know how well he'd be like super cool to do something like that.
Yeah, that's also something like I'm taking into account is like, okay, who are these people? I think Omar would just kind of vibe, and plus, we party dude, one more party dude, add that to like the Quintus Miriam trio. It's a good time.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. Also a monk. Yeah. A monk would be a great fit for our group.
I agree. The follow-up question, speaking of the Suicide Squawk, dear Avi, please rank the members of the Suicide Squawk from least to most favorite in front of me. And then also the same part of the question of if you could choose one to be in the highest standard, who would it be? But just the first part of this question.
really hard. I love them all so much. No.
Don't worry, nobody's feelings will be devastated.
No one's feelings will be devastated.
You're bullying me. I don't like this. I feel bullied.
I would never.
You
I
bully
didn't ask
me?
this question. I didn't ask this question. This
Well,
question was submitted by one of the wonderful people I added in front of me because I'm present, but this question existed before I was involved in it.
Somehow I don't.
So go ahead!
Fuck you, Chase!
Go ahead! Who's favorite?
I'm nervous. Okay,
And who's
okay,
your
okay.
least favorite?
Hanzo, obviously. I had to get it out there.
I get that.
Ooh. Okay, I need to preface this with I actually love all of them so much. And this is actually really hard for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Cover your bases, yep.
Okay, favorite? I think I've made it clear. I just love Omar so much. I love him so much, and he's great. Ryuji Hohenheim, this is mommy time.
That's true, Ryuji.
So Ryuji Hohenheim is your least favorite member of the Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Yeah, there we
goodness.
go. Ha! Thank you, Logan.
Hayden, just for the sake of people who might be listening to this and not knowing about the most important character in Nat19, Ryuji Hohenheim, could you describe that character for us?
He is a
real quick.
corgi bard, you see, who has recently, according to the audience, multi-classed into monk because he is a fast boy. So he is a corgi bard who is multi-classed into monk, and he's a big problem, and he's a loud boy, you see. But that's hence bard, you know. So there you go. He is the most
Wonderful.
important member of the Suicide Squad, you see. He doesn't have
I
wings,
agree.
so it's fine. But ranking the Suicide Squad members
Yes.
from Aviana's, this is a question directed at Avi. So you know what? Here we go.
It's true. It's Avi's perspective on it.
Okay. I think from Avi perspective, I think Omar has a lot. She has a lot of respect for Omar, but that's also Hayden talking. This is a very hard question for me because I haven't thought about who I like most.
I think it's really funny that you're like, Omar's the best, but then everyone else.
Everyone else, I love them all so much. Okay. Final answer. Omar, Elma, and I think Sister and Hanzo are kind of on the same. Because she didn't really, I'm thinking from Avi brain, she didn't really like connect with him, but she really respects Hanzo in a lot of ways because she, I'm also giving this to you because you're here and I wanted to tell you this anyway. Shut the fuck up, Chase.
Oh, deja vu.
She really respects Hanzo in a lot of ways because he is very kind of set in his ideals, and that's something she relates to a lot, but he is very, she finds him very interesting. He's not a personable guy.
Charismatic?
Okay? Yeah, no. You know, relates to the sense. It's like cool. We're neither of those things. Together, we might make a possibly personable person. Wow,
I'm dead, don't worry about
dying. It's fine.
I'm dead. Don't worry about it. I'm dead. It's fine. I'm dead.
But yeah, probably Omar, Elma, Hanzo, sister Hanzo.
Sister's at the bottom now. Okay.
Well, the thing is, they're kind of interchangeable. I can't really.
They're so alike.
No,
They're
something
so
they're so alike.
interchangeable.
I can't. I really don't know how to rank them. Like outside of that, like they are on par. Like that is my final answer. What?
This is homicide. What's happening here?
Bullied.
I
call bullying. But
I've never
yeah,
seen
final
a victim
answer.
twist the knife in their own body so hard.
Just end my life, please.
What a time. That's entirely understandable. I get that. That's all fun.
Yeah.
Next question is for Logan.
All right, here we go.
Thank God.
All right, get ready. It's a big one. It's
Okay.
A big one.
All right.
All right. Warm up. Get some stretches in. All right. Yep. Good. Quick breathing exercise.
All right, what is it?
Oh, perfect. Dear Logan, what will Briar's first 3 declarations as a High Lord of Mott be?
Okay, so first thing, clean up any messes you make. You leave something lying around the city, you pick it up, you put it where it goes. You know where it goes. I know you do. Second rule. Cocaine all the time.
You know where that goes.
All the time. Third rule. Print on both sides of the printer paper. I'm not made of money. Fourth
Perfect.
rule. Don't steal from Film Cow, as I am currently doing. Because I'm floundering and have no idea what Briar would want because he's not someone who should be in a position of authority, so I'm just choosing to steal a bit from Film Cow.
Does Briar think that iocane has anything to do with said drug you just mentioned previously? Like maybe they're just they really like that concept and they're trying to rebrand?
People should stop ripping off. Okay. Fucking to the people in universe, iocane would just be fucking gibberish.
Yeah, that's fair.
Heckin'. It's a drug from that one novel, The Princess Bride, that doesn't exist.
Ah.
Heckin', nah, there's no solid answer here outside of just making jokes.
I mean, that's fair.
What would Briar's first declaration as High Lord of Mott be? That if people want in the Platinum District, why not, I guess. They can come in as long as they're cool. Second declaration Briar would make. All magic potions are now legal to sell. There will no longer be any bureaucratic limit on what magic potions are allowed to be sold. Because he doesn't particularly... it holds up his business a lot that he can't. Third. Man, I don't know. He doesn't really want much out of life. He's just sort of there. He's just a shopkeeper.
I mean, the High Lord will now be referred to
mandatory
as the
vacation
High
days.
Lord. Mandatory vacation days. I'm about it. No more crunch. No more crunch and not.
Mandatory vacation days.
Heck yeah.
Especially for the people that fix the walls, because Jesus Christ. There's a lot of walls in this city.
Yeah, man.
Sure. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe you.
There sure
I'm
are.
unfamiliar with the wall ratio, but I'm sure it's astounding. Next question. Dear Logan, what have some of your favorite character interactions been so far?
Should I be thinking about like NPC to PC, NPC to NPC, PC to PC, or?
I think whatever speaks to you in any category that you are feeling.
Let's see. What are some of
I'm
my
sure
favorite?
there have been a lot of interactions in the campaign. It's a game of interactions, so I'm sure there are many of them. So just like any off the top of your head that you've been.
It's hard to pick. Because I kind of like just everything in general. Let's see. Some of my favorite character interactions. I've liked a lot of the stuff that's gone on in the tournament regarding the more personal fights. I think Quintus and Murkwire's general back and forth is relatively cool. Though it gets a little bit one-sided sometimes. I do like that general vibe. I really like Miriam and Aviana's talks, just in general, especially when Aviana was really new and they were like sort of figuring themselves out. I think that Miriam poking and prodding at things has been really fun. The talk between Velia, the gnome that helps to run the treasury, the vaults in the city, who they recently had to talk to, he shocked the party in a way that I thought was really fun, and I'm very glad that that whole experience got to happen. For your elucidation on the matter, Chase. Basically, the merchant lord that turned out to be that was the treasurer was turned out to be a dragon and had to flee. But they were then to the party like, okay, so we were going to give you guys this artifact that are in the vaults anyways, but we especially need to give it to you now because Diane's probably going to try to seize control of the vaults. So they're like, you need to contact my partner and give them this information that was like this like coded stuff. And it's like, this will convince them to go and get it for you and bring it to you. And then you guys protect it from Diane. And they did that, but when they met with the gnome, the gnome basically was like, okay, so my condition for doing this is you never bring this up again, because there was a bunch of cryptic stuff in the message, and it was a very like heckin', your debt is to be repaid. And he's like, all right, so cool. So if I do this, you leave, and you never talk to me again, right? And they sort of were like, no, maybe, we'll see. So he's like, okay, fine. Well, then in that case, if you guys don't, then I will. And he looked to each of them and was like, tell people that you're a Cassandria, tell people that you're a hobgoblin and that you used to be in the Hellrock Army, tell people that you have amnesis, and just started like naming off things about them that he shouldn't know, that most people don't know. And the group was like, what's going on? What are you? And he was just like looking from person to person, being like, telling them their most damning secret and not telling them how he could do it. And then they just started to be like, oh, you're interesting. And he's like, no, I'm not interesting. Stop thinking about me. And then he was like, I'll get you the thing. And he left. And they were just like, oh man, after this is all done, we got to bother him some more. And he's just like in the background like, no, don't come near me again. And he just made himself way too interesting because of his ability to like probe their minds for secrets just by looking at them. And they're all like, oh, we need to bring that guy in the highest standard. And that interaction has been one of my favorite in the campaign just because it was a lot of fun.
That's great.
I'm so upset.
Yeah, a lot of them are like dramatic things that were really fun to run, but I really like stuff like that. And it was just such a no. I'm blackmailing you. What don't you understand about this? Yeah, he's a character that has a lot going on, that if things go his way, nobody will ever find out any of them because he just wants to live a normal life. But yeah, I think that was my favorite in recent memory, my favorite character interaction. Also, everything with Fenris and Tantia has been just in general. I love playing that relationship.
I've heard the tales of that particular relationship. That's
Sometimes it takes up a lot of time,
big
but it's really fun to play.
Heck yeah. Speaking of Fenris and also the tournament, which was going on for quite a few sessions now. Dear Aviana, if you were fighting in the tournament, who would you like to fight most and who would you like to fight least?
There's so many things I want to say that I'm like, there's so many characters that I'm like, I just want to fucking fight you. I've talked about this with Bread. I want to fight Fenris so bad. Like, not even from like, you're dating my ex-girlfriend, hiss, grr, feelings, or I'm gonna punch out my feelings because I choose not to feel these feelings. Fuck you. Not even from that kind of point of view of her dealing with that shit. It's a sense of, especially as Aviana having seen Fenris fight now, she wants to go toe-to-toe with her. She thinks that would be a great time. Just from like a fun sparring point of view, I would really, really like to fight Vogan, because especially now that would be just, that would be a tougho, and I'm about it. I'd say Miriam, but that's too easy. I punch him on a regular basis anyway. There's that, it's like,
You've
So
already fought him.
I've already fought him.
He's already been defeated.
I kidney punched him last Saturday. It was great. It was very satisfying.
Non-lethal sneak attack.
Honestly, yeah, that is just her as a person. Who would I want to fight least for fear of getting my ass beat? Also Vogan.
Understandable.
I think fight most Fenris. Fight least. Ooh, yeah, Vogan and Fenris are pretty like 1-to-1 on wanting to fight them. I don't know who I'd want to fight the least. Honestly, I haven't seen Lexi like fight because last time we were fighting, she was in a hole most of the time.
You know how sometimes you're in a hole.
Fox in a hole, man. I think I just want to fight all of them. I don't think there's any one that I want to fight the least. I'm gonna say Vogan because he can fuck up my shit. I think Vogan could kill me. And even though that'd be really fun. I don't know. I don't have a least favorite. I just want to fight them all for different reasons. But
Logan
all of
could kill me. That'd be so much fun.
Oh man, dude, Chase. I'm
About
about that. But I'm also
I'm
terrified of what he
about
could. All right, final answer. Fenris most, Vogan least. There you go. Because Fenris, she's got to work out some stuff. So.
Yeah.
Caveat.
Yeah.
There's other people in the tournaments that aren't the players.
What? No.
That's true. That's true. Actually, ooh, I was thinking just about the players, yeah, about which players I'd want to fight. That also about people who are in it.
Mm-hmm.
Logan, do they still have to be in the running, or just in general? Because I
don't know. How do you think it would be fun to answer the question?
There's a stupid idea in my brain is I would really like to fight Valder simply because he's Rory's brother. And I think that would be funny and weird. But, yeah, I don't know how that would go. But, fight least, the lady, she scares me.
What?
But yeah, a little bit. Fighting Murkwire, I'm kind of jealous that I'm not in the tournament because fucking I want to punch Murkwire in the face, but also that'd be really hard and fun. That would be a hard fight, but that'd be really fun. So, looking forward to see how that goes down. The players.
I believe in your ability to deliver said punches.
I mean, I got Vox Victorian. I got cool new weapon now. So I think that's also part of it. I'm like, I want to try this out. I, as Hayden, just want to do a fight.
Avi, I feel like Avi's optimal weapon situation is to have one of those money guns where you just hold down the trigger and money flies out of it, except for instead of dollar bills, it's daggers.
Yes. I like to think that, like, on the inside of, like, her little, like, flap that's, like her little half skirt thing that she wears is just, like, lined with daggers. So that's the future I see for her.
That sounds like a very, very good time. A very deadly good time.
Yeah, I can't sit down.
without consequences, yeah. Because she was brought up, dear Logan, how old is the lady?
Yes.
I believe it.
Cool.
Yeah. Next question. Dear Logan, of all the male characters, who is most wife?
Of all the male characters, who's most wife? Oh, jeez.
And why is it Argo?
I was gonna say it's probably Argo.
I was gonna say, I'm like, if you don't say Argo, there's something wrong, and this is
Everyone knows.
I think it's Argo.
I think it's Stradivarius. Obviously.
Oh my goodness. Are you gendering Stradivarius? You
know what? You're right. I haven't explicitly heard Stradivarius use a pronoun. That's on me. You know what? You're right.
Heckin'. No, it's probably Argo. I'm trying to think of others. All the male characters. I'm not gonna include PCs because I feel like that makes it too easy to answer. Running down. I mean, fucking Fume is pretty wife. Fucking Fume is great. I'm gonna go with Argo, but there's a couple other contenders that hold like a close second.
Who is Fume again?
Fume is the very large ash antique boy. He has like black skin that with like red veins that look like magma, and he has fire hair.
Okay, that's pretty heck.
Hold on one sec. Hold on, because I'm here, because I'm one of the boys that's in the thing this one time. I can actually do the thing as long as I can click on the right folders. That's all I gotta do. Just gotta get the right folders going. I keep doing the wrong folders because I have so many folders, because I have so many files.
Can't believe you.
I can't believe me either.
Can't believe you.
Can't believe you've done this.
My day is ruined.
There he is. This is Fume.
I love him.
That's wonderful.
He was a competitor in the tournament. He was a member of the Scabbard Guild, which is formed from ex-members of Iocane, and he's a big old boy that tried to hunt the party down at one point, but is now their friend.
Yay! He seems delightful.
He is. He's very polite.
Ah. Excuse me, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'll have to hunt you down now. My apologies. But I must kill you in cold blood. I know this will be, obviously, an inconvenience.
He also led to the funniest circle of truth or zone of truth interaction I think I'll ever be able to run, which was he speaks with like a bit of a Russian, well, not a bit of, he speaks with a Russian accent, and whenever they captured him, and whenever they talked, they were talking about, this is like back when Iocane was still pretending to hunt down the group, they put him in a zone of truth, and they were like, who might be still coming after us, and he said Iocane, but he said it very like, Hyocane! And when he did, the group thought that he said Hyocane. So they kept being like, who is Hyocane? And he was in the zone of truth, so he kept being like, no one. That's not a group. And just like avoiding the answer by being like, that's not, the Hyocane is nobody. And the players were all just so like, what are you doing? What's going on here? And they didn't realize they'd misheard. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh no.
You're asking him if that's a group. He's telling you that it's not. It's not his fault that you misheard.
Oh, that's amazing. Next question is for Avi. Dear Aviana, hypothetically, if money and timing were a non-issue, how would you spoil yourself on a self-care trip? Would you take anyone with you?
Ooh. There's some good answers here. Oh, I haven't even thought, what would a self-care trip look like for Aviana? Dear gods. I don't know, she, as awkward as the time up in the hot spring was, I feel like that girl needs a good spa day. I think she would probably go to a more remote, I think somewhere in the mountains. I could see her wanting to go sort of like mountain hot spring style. And who would I bring with me? There's a couple different answers here. I'm gonna say not Miriam. Because those are shenanigans she doesn't want to deal with when she's trying to relax.
That's not self-care, yeah.
That's not self-care. That's, all right, do I want to be stressed on this trip? I'm
going to spoil myself by ruining myself.
Yeah, I'm going to spoil myself by bringing the
Miriam.
person who stresses me out sometimes. Easy answer, which I know Logan's gonna make fun of me for it. She'd probably want to bring Rory. If I'm gonna be super honest, like even just from like a friend standpoint, any
Rory
feelings
doesn't
aside,
take days off.
He doesn't, but she's gonna make him one of these days, I swear to God.
He has a city to protect.
So does she! So they both need a self-care day.
All
But
right,
it's
listen.
his job.
Listen,
That's
here's
true.
what you do. You lie through your teeth and you say that there's a criminal
she does.
syndicate trying to take over all the luxury and relaxation venues of the city, and you'll need to go undercover and scout them out. And then you just go to place after place and have a great time in the city. And you're just like, dang, they were too wily, we couldn't find them.
Yeah, I couldn't find him, but those massages though, that seaweed wrap, come on, man.
Don't
like-
break cover, Rory.
Don't break cover. Just you know, fucking. I think probably Lexi would be really fun, but I think they both need a day off. She'd probably like just from the sense of it's like you're my best friend. She'd probably want to bring Rory, but probably Lexi because she really likes Lexi. Thank you for contribution, Ryuji. I don't know why you're yelling, but when is he not? Yeah, I think Lexi or Rory probably.
Nice.
I want that girl to get a good deep tissue massage.
Oh.
I don't know how that would work with the wings, but I'm sure that someone would know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You just go somewhere and massage a bird lady, I suppose.
Yeah. You put the lotion on the feathers, and you just hope for the best.
I mean, hot springs, you can kind of bird bath it, like, you know.
Splash around in the water a bit.
Yeah.
She just
Splish,
fucking...
splish, 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 splish. Water exploding out of the hot springs, doing the pigeon cleaning thing.
She is a raven, thank you very much, Chase.
I
Excuse
don't
you.
know how ravens clean themselves, but
I
I was
don't know
imagining
either. I
like
should
a
look into
New
that.
York pigeon in like a puddle of water, just going at it. That's what I imagine.
I mean, Bobby is fucking like homeless, probably.
Next question is for Logan. Dear Logan, is there anything in particular about the lady that made you want her to be a part of Vestige?
I feel like this question might be rooted in a misunderstanding. In that I think because I used them in Tomb before they appeared in Vestige, I think people are assuming I made the lady for Tomb and then later put them into Vestige, which is the wrong way around. They were made for Vestige long before, and the reason I had art readily on hand, because if people remember, my character died in one session, and then later on in that session I made a new character with full art and busted it out in the chat, like in that same session. The reason I had that ready is because the lady was already going to be in Vestige, and I already had art done. So the answer, I guess, is because they were made for Vestige.
I mean, that's fair, but what about them, like, made them such a good fit for Vestige? I mean, obviously you were able to plan them beforehand, but like, was there any particular trait that they had that you think makes them fit so well into Vestige?
So there's a few things. One, because they are a Knight of the Capital, they help to establish very early on that the people who live at the in Heaven's Jaw at the capital, they are a cut above. That the royal knights that live there are basically like they are epic level heroes. She also changes the situation in the city in that because she has the authority to go over the heads of the High Lord and the Merchant Lords. If the players could get her on their side, they would have more influence regarding what's going to happen there. And she's also chasing Tenebros, which gave the players the means to find out more information about Tenebros and what they're capable of and such through that, and as well as, again, get an ally in the lady in that regard. Beyond that, they're just, in my opinion, a cool character that I was happy to have in the tournament. They've led to a lot of neat interactions, especially with Quintus. And there's a lot of stuff that may happen with them in the future and may not, depending on how much the party focuses on stuff adjacent to them. So I think they're very conducive to the story. I think they help it to move forward in interesting ways. I think they give the players different avenues to go down if they want to pursue different problems. And they also help to set the tone of the most important place in Retia for if the players ever go there.
Mm-hmm. That is a very, very well-spoken answer with all sorts of different things to back it up. Very, very convincing. But, dear Logan, is Vestige just an excuse for you to get art of cute girls and handsome boys, as well as to give each and every one a good old smooch? The rumor come out, Logan. The last part was me. I added the last part.
No.
I'd like the answer to this.
A likely story.
Mm-hmm.
A very likely story, Logan.
That's dumb.
I'd like you to roll deception, please.
It's not my fault that everyone's...
The rumor come out, Logan.
It's not my fault that everyone's acting so pretty and having and smooth. That's not the focus. It's just fucking what's happening.
Dear Avi, is the only reason you don't want to be part of the highest standard because Quintus wants it so much?
I mean, from a certain perspective, it's not like okay.
Oh boy. Kinda, yeah. Aviana is very, if you couldn't tell, she's a very stubborn person. And is kinda set in her ways. You know, yeah, she's very stubborn. And she's like, I'm just trying to make my own decisions here. And if you would if you would lay off some, or lay off entirely about making it, oh, you're doing the higher standard, because it's become this big thing to poke and prod her, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm so sick of this shit. But I think because Quintus has been so much like, you're joining the highest standard, she's like, no, because you want me to so bad, I feel the need to buck the system here, because that is so ingrained, just who she grew up to be in the terms of like bucking the system and bucking what other people want. That is just a big part of her, that she's like, no, Quintus, no. Because I like that also, I want to say, I like that part of their dynamic is that she doesn't put up with his crap. She does not, she's like, no, you're gonna be shifty about this? No, you're gonna tell me what's happening and you're gonna be straight with me. Because that's how we're gonna have a conversation right now.
So you're saying that if Quintus had approached her being like, listen, you cannot join the highest standard, there's simply no way we will ever let you in, please give up on your dreams of ever joining, that she would suddenly be very motivated to go join the highest standard?
Maybe a little bit, because she's like, okay, bring it on. All
Reverse
right.
psychology is just incredibly effective on Avi.
Probably, yeah.
Good.
But yeah, she's grown up being like, hey, stop doing that. And she's like, but this is how I do this. Therefore, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, man. I don't know what you want from me. But yeah, no, I think Quintus is so adamant about it that she's like, stop. If I feel like it, I will, but fucking she's kind of just over the joke at this point. Now that the groups are merging, she's like, damn it. I mean, I could just go leave Iocane, but at the same time, that requires me to go to the drag. That's a whole lot of thing that I don't feel like doing.
It's a lot of things.
But I have other things to do. I'm just gonna avoid this until it comes back to bite me, which it now has. So.
Speaking of other things that you have to do, dear Avi, what are Aviana's long-term and short-term goals?
Oh, I actually have like a direct answer to this because I've written this down.
So overall goal, like long-term goal, she really, I've mentioned it a lot during campaign, but she is very much, she wants the druidic races to be able to, especially, just her focus is on Summergrass. She's not thinking like the entire world, I'm gonna change it. She wants to change Summergrass for the better, in the sense that she really wants to see all the races a lot more integrated and just kind of she's really sick of the segregation. She said this to the High Lord. She's like, I'm sick of seeing this. I'm sick of seeing the segregation. I want to find a way to kind of have us living amongst each other. There's a lot of separation that she doesn't like. I think that has grown in her, being that she's like, humans as humans aren't necessarily the problem. It's that we've all kind of, like, all of us have kind of been raised to believe that we should be separated, and that people who aren't humans or gnomes or whatever are a problem. And
industrial races.
The industrial races.
Thank you, Logan.
Yeah, so her long-term goal is to see Summergrass a lot more integrated and see a lot less hatred and segregation. Short-term goals, right now?
Smooch the elf.
What? Which elf?
Smooch.
The elf.
All of them.
You know the elf.
There's only
The
one.
elf?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Fenny?
Of course. The elf.
I was like, you mean
The elf.
Hanzo?
I guess Hanzo's
There's
also
only
an elf.
one.
I
There's
would,
only one.
my first thought was Hanzo. A disappointment. This campaign, I should leave. I failed you once again, Logan.
It's okay.
Short-term
That's it.
goals, smooching aside.
Smooching aside, short-term goals. She really wants to know what's going on with her mom right now, because that's what she's getting more and more information on. It's kind of been a long-term goal, but get the information she's owed, essentially. But also, short-term goals, real answer, get the Archfiend out of her fucking city.
Right?
Get him out of
How'd
here.
that guy get in there? He doesn't need to be in there.
How did he get here? What
Get out of
are you doing
here.
here, man? No,
Get
she
out.
wants short-term goal. She wants to deal with the Tenebros and Stradivarius is her short-term goal right now. That's what she's very much focused on. But overall,
I think that's
Summergrass, short-term, get the hell out of here, Tenebros.
Back to smooching for a sec. Dear Logan, can you say if Diane and Edrigan were ever romantically involved?
So this is probably never going to come up again, given the betrayal. But yes, they weren't involved, but Diane intentionally kept Edrigan in, like... They flirted, and they were somewhat romantic with one another. They were actually building up relatively recently. Not at all because Edrigan maybe was going to become the High Lord. Diane was becoming more flirtatious with him and leading him on more. And Edrigan owed a lot to Diane. And she stood beside him and was a competent, charismatic woman through most of his life. So, yeah, they were building up into probably being in a relationship. And then... everything that has happened, and Diane was like, okay, cool. So I need to get rid of you because I need to blame you for all the stuff that I've done. And, you know, that's gone where it went. But yes, they were almost romantically involved.
Do you think they would have been romantically involved if Edrigan agreed to go along with whatever Diane wanted him to do?
Yes, probably. She probably would have made a point of being... Once it was on the table, she probably would have spelled out for him what it was, what was going on, and if he wanted to be with her, she probably would have been like, that's totally fine, I would be happy being in a relationship with the High Lord of Mott, but at that point, the artifice wouldn't have been there. It would have been like, do you want that? Because I can do that for you, but it's not going to be because I want to.
It'll cost you extra.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good time. That's interesting. I didn't know that, and that's a fun little detail.
There was a couple things I did that sort of insinuated that it might be the case, like when Quintus pulled away Diane fairly early on in the tournament when the ruse was still up, and I just noted that Edrigan was a bit worried to hear that Diane was going on a date with Quintus. Not in a way that he like directly got involved or anything, but just that when she was like, "Hey, I have to go on a date with the Valorbuilt man," he was very like, well, have fun.
The tension.
Yeah, I think that's because Quintus wanted to talk to Diane about family things and used "we're going on a date" as the ruse, and Diane didn't want to, but Diane was like, well, that's definitely the best excuse, I guess.
So I feel like we've gotten, with all the smooching talk, we've gotten very off track of very serious discussion topics, like smooching. Dear Logan, is Argo into Miriam? If yes, why? If no, would he ever be?
What a good question.
I am curious.
Do you feel compelled to answer in any way?
What an interesting question.
Does that belie possibly an answer one way or another?
That question right there. Interesting.
And your interest in that question, would you care to spell out if it caused you to lean one way or another?
If I had to describe the way that question occurs to me, I suppose it would be fascinated.
That's very interesting to me. Do you think that fascination in any way could lead to an answer to the question?
I don't follow.
You know what? That's fair. And I will be very excited to see how that plays out.
Probably. That's as much as I'll answer that. Yeah. You can take the probably to whichever of the three individual questions you wish.
Yes. I will. I am very down for probably. I'm down for probably. So next very lighthearted question, which is just for fun. Dear Aviana, would you join the highest standard even if they weren't convenient?
Convenient is there's actually so much to unpack here. From Avi point of view, would I join the highest standard even if they weren't convenient? The thing is, while they short answer, yes. Short answer, probably in time, yes. Things are being sort of streamlined essentially right now against her will. So just simply for the fact that she is not even against her will. Like, she could leave Iocane at any time. There are reasons that she hasn't. Will come out in game probably. But yes, probably would end up joining the highest standard even if they weren't convenient. I'm chewing on how much I want to say here. I'm deciding. Probably. You know, I'm just gonna say short answer yes, otherwise I'm gonna be like, here's all of the beans, let me spill them.
These beans are way too organized.
I'm just gonna start throwing the beans out of the cupboard there. But yes, probably she would end up joining them, even if they weren't, as she puts it, convenient.
That's fine.
What?
First of possibly many food-related questions.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Avi, are you for or against pineapple pizza?
Well, the thing about Aviana is, one, she doesn't have a favorite food. And having grown up on the streets, it's kind of like, oh, that's food, cool, let me eat it. She's not like vegetarian or whatever.
Follow-up question, is the food in question for, oh, that's food, I'll eat it, is that always food?
What?
Does she sometimes mistake things such as loose detritus for food? Like a bird might?
Probably not, because she's a Hanyo. But I think she's definitely dumpster dived. She is like, there's a reason she steals how she does, and that's how she fed herself. So for or against pineapple pizza? Probably for. She'll try anything at least once.
That's fair.
Probably for pineapple pizza.
How do you feel she would feel about being treated to an incredibly nice meal?
I think it would kind of take her aback, because she's never. Unless, like, she's had, like, a nice meal with Iocane, which I'll let Logan answer if she has or not. But, yeah, probably not.
Part of their thing is that they're always broke.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, Logan. I think it would be if she was being treated to a nice meal, I don't know how she would know how to react. I think it would take her aback a lot. Like, she's not used to that at all. So I think it would be kind of a little bit of a surprise for her. So,
That's
yeah.
fair. Do you think she would appreciate fine dining?
I think she would be uncomfortable, but she would appreciate it as sort of like a little treat yourself thing. Because she could live, like, with, you know, like, the amount of money she steals, she could live better than she does, but she stays where she is by choice. But I think she would appreciate it as sort of like a little treat every once in a while. Probably feel like a fish out of water or a bird out of the nest if we're gonna play into it. Yeah.
Entirely fair. Next food-related question. Dear Logan, now that all of the apples of Ymir have been used, what are your thoughts on them? Did they last longer than expected? Which uses surprised you? Which did you find the most interesting? Does Ymir approve of how they've been used?
Ymir doesn't care. That's...
Sorry, you told me how that was pronounced earlier, and I still messed it up.
That's okay, it doesn't matter. Heckin, Ymir doesn't really care. He gave them to the group because they did a big thing, which that's one of the things in the far future I want to revisit with the group and see if they attach why that event was so important that afterwards a god showed up and was like, here's a reward, thanks for getting rid of that, because I don't think they ever questioned why an Eidolon just materialized. But, heckin, so they got a bunch of those from Ymir, and I think So they were fun. They were kind of an early game way for me to be like, A, here's an Eidolon. B, here is, and you'll never get these again because there's no way to, here is a solution to problems. Like if somebody was dying or overly exhausted in those early levels, they were very much a, here you go, here's a get out of jail free card. And was like, randomly I made like 1d4 plus 2 or something like that of them and gave them to them. The one that surprised me the most was that Miriam immediately took his. And just so you know, Chase, these apples, they've been talked about before, but they can basically, they instantly give you a long rest, they purge any negative effects from you, they restore your maximum hit points, they act as if greater restoration had been cast on you. They're basically if you have a problem, it is gone. You are back to perfect health. He immediately took his and gave it to this old man who was the only survivor of the village that they were in that had been turned into undead. Gave it to him because the old man had amnesis. And there was no major benefit to doing so. He just helped out this old man and gave him the apple. And I've always thought that was a really defining moment early on for Miriam, because it was like he had this artifact level item that he chose to give to just someone generally in need who may not even have much life left. And that was always very emblematic of how little importance Miriam puts in things like that, but in the sense of he doesn't believe in hoarding it or revering it. He's willing to use it where he sees a need for it. And then the next ones were used for like, I can't remember the exact, I'm forgetting any, but another was used as a bargaining chip for Raleigh for the Esper to open a gate there. And that was really cool. I thought that was appropriate. And then the last one, it got saved for a while. It got to a point where like it was the chat jokes that they're like plot tokens, and it's not really what they were, but it is very like, yes, they definitely are things that allow you to make huge bargains if needed. The fact they used the last one on Murkwire, I could never have. That's a lie. Since the tournament began, I actually had been talking to some people, Eric in particular, about the fact that if they ever gave it to Murkwire, that'd be a game changer, but I intentionally never planted that seed. I avoided it. The fact that they did it was super cool. That's a neat use for it. Definitely. They may never have even done this tournament. They could, because I hinted there was a tournament, they could have gone about their business. But they decided to do the tournament, so that's where the campaign went. And I never thought, back when I gave... Sorry, go ahead.
Just for a second, what did they use that apple for?
This last one?
Yeah.
They gave it to Murkwire recently to cure his amnesis and to restore him back to full health, because they believed that if they cured his amnesis, it would A, make it safe for people to fight him in the tournament, and B, that he would be able to exert control over his own mind, and in doing so, no longer be a puppet for Tenebros. And they were correct. And they basically... The chat likes to look at it as they turned Murkwire into Vestige's Piccolo at this point, like early on Piccolo. Because he's definitely not become a good guy, but he's very much been like, no, I would never have done most of those things if not for Tenebros. I am going to go think about what this means. And he is... Now he has his own things going on, which may or may not be villainous. But pre-Tenebros mind controlling him, he wasn't nearly as antagonistic or violent as he was now. So they used it basically to set him into a less antagonistic role, and using an artifact like that to heal your greatest enemy so that they could be better and make their own choices is a really neat thing, I think.
That is very neat. And just to double check, how's Quintus doing?
Oh yeah, he still has amnesis.
Yeah?
Yeah, they didn't give it to him.
Yeah.
How's
that old guy doing?
The old guy's fine.
That's great.
Yeah, that's how they knew the apples could cure amnesis, is because of that initial thing with Miriam, which in a weird way, though it seemed at the time like he wasted it, it weirdly proved early on that it could do that so that they could do it reliably now. Which
very handy.
Very like almost seems narratively intentional, which I can confirm it's not. But yeah, that was neat. They're probably going to conjure up the Esper again and try to make another deal to cure Quintus, but that involves giving something up.
No idea what they're gonna give up.
Who knows, man?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I understand, having never seen the segment of the show that the Esper showed up on, I imagine them to be completely reasonable and definitely willing to trade a lot of nothing for a lot of something.
Of course.
They're very, very personable and delightful, and they're just all about helping people, man.
Yeah, I mean, the first time they met, they found out about them because they found out someone had traded the life of their unborn child in return for their current living older child getting better from a disease that was killing them. They are They're nice. They're good. They don't make
Yeah.
devil's fucking bargains. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm
Little-
excited for that fun little romp and side trip. It's basically just a beach episode. That'll be fun.
A beach episode inside Aviana's house.
Goodness.
Yeah. A fun thing on the same level of energy. Dear Logan, of the current party members, who do you think is least likely and most likely to survive until the end of the campaign?
Well, the end of the campaign. So I'm treating campaigns as like large story sections. So like once we go back to Sunsong and then come back, I'll call campaign 2, even though we're still going to be with these characters.
Sure.
I make that distinction because other shows like Critical Role, for example, are like, a campaign is our entire journey with these characters from start to finish, and that's not how I'm counting. By the end of campaign 1, least likely is Quintus, purely because of how Cody plays him. I would say Miriam or Quintus are the least likely, because those two are very self-sacrificial. And they're often pragmatic in a way that if saving themselves doesn't make sense or puts more people in danger, they will avoid it. Most likely to survive? Lexi or Vogan? Fenris or Vogan. Just because I think that overall, they can... If we're just talking about things that might kill them fighting-wise, they've both shown that they generally understand what is too much for them, and if they do have to fight, they both have a large enough skill set that I think they could get out if they needed to. They're both pretty level-headed. I don't think they're going to get into anything that's going to be too much for them. And Fenris is a healer, so...
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So we're just talking about purely like what might kill them, those two. And Vogan can use his lightning to also give himself temporary hit points, so he's very durable.
Out of curiosity, because I'm unfamiliar with the setting, how easy is it to bring people back from the dead in Vestige?
So, the usual spells exist. They haven't bumped into it yet. Like, they've had to bring Miriam back a couple of times, but they've used Revivify. Like, he was only just freshly dead, which is the easiest time to bring somebody back. But if you had to use a higher level spell or use something that worked, after their immediate death when their soul had properly disconnected from their body, I haven't dived into it yet, but there is soul decay within this setting, and it's relatively harsh. So if somebody dies and has to come back after, like, several days, if, like, Raised Dead or Resurrection or whatnot had to come into play, then they would probably, more likely than not, be coming back with penalties, like permanent ones to their stats.
Okay.
That said, as far as how difficult is it to bring somebody back, it is all the usual stuff. I will note the players are aware of a Scroll of True Resurrection in a temple underground that they've bumped into, but they also know it's cursed, so they decided not to go near it. But if ever they really needed to bring somebody back, that's always going to be there as something they could revisit.
Dang. Yeah, that's fair. That sounds like the whole time.
It's a great thing as a DM to be like knowing that that's always there. So if there's ever an emergency and somebody dies, it's like, I mean, you have one option.
There is
You might
something.
need to use that option before you even get to it, but you can try.
They've gotten there before. They got to it, and then they were like, it's cursed. The curse was one that would backlash and probably have permanent penalties on whoever used it. So they were like, we're just gonna leave it here. It's fine. We're just gonna leave it here. It's not gonna touch it. It's good.
Okay.
But desperate times sometimes overrule logic.
That's fair. Stupid question on my part that's entirely a meme. Can you try to feed an apple of Amir to a person who has recently died?
It won't help them.
Okay, that's fair.
It can reinvigorate the living, but it cannot bring somebody like past the point of it can't like restore somebody who's been turned into a vampire or a werewolf.
I was
It
gonna
can't.
say.
Yeah, it can't.
That was the next question.
If you die by having your hit points reduced to like your maximum hit points reduced down to 0, you have to figure out a way to fix that. It can't fix that. If like your soul is elsewhere, it can't bring it back. Like it's pretty much it's a heckin' an elixir / Phoenix down, but it's not like it's not like a wish level restoration.
So you're saying that if there was a sufficiently powerful caster, they could cast contingency to put an apple of Amir in their mouth the moment that something really bad happened?
If they
Just
had
teleport an apple into their face?
I suppose they could if they had spare apples of Amir.
I'm sure those are common enough, and any caster could do that.
Yep. They don't grow on an Eidolon's body or anything.
Yeah.
I don't grow on trees.
Womp.
Womp.
Womp. Dear crime bird, when not working, what do you do to relax?
Crime bird.
Oh man, when you're not working, what do you do to relax? Well, I also have this written down, because yay. Because I think too much. But she loves, I'm not gonna go into why. She loves to sit down at the end of the day, just kind of by herself. There's a couple different things she likes to do. She likes to sit down with how she treats herself is dark chocolate, is something she really likes. Dark chocolate and a cup of tea is something she likes. Specifically hibiscus tea.
I was just about to ask what kind of tea, but thank you.
Yes, she likes hibiscus tea a lot. That is her favorite tea. Or if she's able to get out, she really likes going for flights at night. She likes to go for just a little fly around at night. Can't see well, but she likes nighttime a lot. It's when she has always felt most comfortable, so that's something that she likes to do. Or just, sit up on her roof like a freaking little crow's nest kind of thing. But yeah,
lurking over the city like a gargoyle.
Kinda, yeah, like in the art.
Like some kind of Batman.
Like kind of bird, Batbird. Or go bother her friend. It's like, hey, can I sneak into the Platinum District today? Let's try this. Fuck it.
Oh.
It's not exactly relaxing, though.
Just on a routine inspection, Rory opens like a rather large crate going into the Platinum District, and you're like, you found me!
Hi!
That's fun.
Do I stress you out? I feel like I stress you out.
Dear Aviana, what was your childhood like? Fun and fancy-free?
Yeah, no, she had a really easy childhood. I'll say there's stuff that's probably gonna come out fairly soon in game. So there's certain things I'm not gonna say. I said it last game. Her mom wasn't always around, because I did say this when I spoke with spoopy old man Fainient. Her mom would disappear and then come back, and she's like, cool, I don't know where you went. Great, I'm by myself. Kind of almost like a latchkey kid. Very much. But she grew up in the Electory District, and then after her mom left, very much fending for herself on the streets. This is all stuff that I've said in game, so that's what I'm gonna say here. But very much fending for herself, learning to steal, learning to pick locks open of things, and just very, very lonely, not really trusting anybody. So I'm like, oh, sad bird. But she grew up very much alone and kind of kept to herself as much as she possibly could, learning to make deals with people, learning to, steal a coin purse here or two, here or there, and then she would, she wound up sneaking into the Platinum District one day, during some kind of celebration. She doesn't really know. She's like, cool, there's things going on. There's a way that I can sneak and get higher end things to sell. I don't really know, and that's how she met the Roarmeister.
The Roarmeister.
The Roarmeister.
Indeed.
But yeah, no, very much just kind of, just kind of fending for herself, stealing, living on the streets, and eventually broke back into her old house, and that's where she lives now.
So is she living there, or is she squatting there?
Well, it was her childhood home, so living there, essentially, you'll see.
Okay.
But, or you won't.
I might not. Others might.
Other people will see. I'm like, but yeah, no, that was her childhood. Just trying to survive and not die in a cold alley.
Why are all the alleys so cold?
Why are they so cold? Why am I so alone? Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right. No reason. I just wanted to be.
I'm just here. I'm here by choice. Yeah. This alley is convenient. That's why I'm
just
with
fucking vibing, man. Vibing.
Yeah, I'm just vibing.
Alley. Yeah. Speaking of just vibing, dear Logan, could you go in depth about amnesis? I know we've been told about it before, and it affects memories, and it can be passed along. But is there anything else you'd like to shed any light on?
Right. So, to go into depth on amnesis is just trying to parse through in my head, like, what details are relevant, and, like, what should be gone over. So, amnesis, just to give, like, a full breakdown of it, in case anybody, like, listens back to this and what they're expecting is, like, a full general run-through of it. As far as the players know, there is this vestigial dormant god that has been asleep for much longer than the modern civilization in the world has existed, and it is starting to wake up. And it is a god of memories and of time, and as part of waking up, it is reaching out to the world, and it is trying to read the memories of people that are alive, to try to get a sense of what the world is like right now, collect information, and just so that when it wakes up, it is current. However, it is overreaching, as far as the players know, and it is accidentally stealing memories. And that is what amnesis basically is. It's thought to be a disease by most places, but the players know at this point it is basically a magical effect that transfers via this miasma that is thicker the more potent it is. And when people become infected by it, the godlike entity begins stealing memories. It only thinks it's reading them, but it steals and takes their memories and leaves the person hollowed out. As it does this, the conversion of memories back into a form that the god can, like, absorb literally turns the memories into amniotic miasma, so that builds up in their blood so that it will eventually return back to the god. But until it does, it just becomes a carrier that can infect more people. So once people are infected with amnesis, they can infect other people via their bodily fluids, particularly their blood, because the miasma is present within it. It's actually one of our commenters recently asked about why in earlier fights with Murkwire the group was not being infected by amnesis. And the reason was that the Messite sword he had was stopping it from progressing, since his memories weren't proceeding to turn into more, into miasma. His body was not actually contagious. But as soon as they broke that sword and took it from him, he started becoming contagious again. But beyond that, what is there? It spreads mainly via geysers of the amniotic miasma that open. People in the world can't really figure why they're opening where they do. All they know is that there's a large vein left in the ground like a mine that stretches back to who knows where, because people can't explore them, but they just open suddenly. The miasma gushes out like mist and surrounds an area, and if people are there, they get infected. It affects animals slightly differently than humanoids, but it does still affect them, in that it seems to just drive animals, generally like feral, but on a different time scale. What else? Trying to think. Messite is effectively a crystallized form of the miasma. The players have learned some things about... Go ahead.
Pure hypothetical.
Yeah.
Could Flux get amnesis?
Yes.
Okay.
If you possess sentience, you can be infected. It builds up within your body, and because things that have blood, that blood becomes a natural carrier for it, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't need blood. The miasma is just why creatures with blood become, and their blood becomes contagious. Within him, like, Warforged would just have it, and they would eventually begin, like, leaking the miasma, but they could still get it.
Okay.
If you are sentient, you can catch it.
That's neat.
There was
That's
a
neat and terrifying in equal parts.
last detail of it, just because I've only gone over things we've gone over in game, is at a previous time in the world, I think it was close to 200 years ago or something to that effect, amniosis did pop up, but it was contained before it could go anywhere, before it could like spread too much, and then it wasn't an issue for a long time, and then within the last 20 years or so in the world, more geysers have been opening at an exponential rate, and it's become a full-on, like, though it's limited to certain areas, and they are doing their best to wall off those areas, it is something of a pandemic. But it's a pandemic that major cities are somewhat trying to avoid talking about if they can. Something that I'm sure there's no parallel for in the real world that popped up right around when we started Vestige. Anyways. I think that's about everything I know about It's everything I can share about amniosis currently.
I very much like the phrasing of everything I know about amniosis to imply that it was some concept that you had studied and not created.
My relationship with what I can talk about is so weird. I have to have my file of what I'm allowed to because it's come out, and so I have to have a false understanding of my own things that I'm allowed to talk to people about, and then I have to turn off the part of my brain that's like, yeah, no, I just know everything about it.
Mm-hmm. That's a neat heckin' thing. Also to Logan, out of all the antagonists you portray in Vestige, whom among them do you think is most likely to go through a redemption arc?
Who among them do I think is most likely to go
Crystal
through a
Queen.
redemption arc?
The Crystal Queen! Everyone's favorite character, Crystal Queen.
Man, Diane had a chance there for a while, but I never really believed Diane was going to stay on their side, just given what Diane is and who she works for. That was it.
I don't know
that was
why,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna joke about like you just answer the question nonchalantly, but in a way that just destroys everyone's understanding of the campaign. You're just like, of the antagonists, High Lord Morian. Like, what?
I mean, you know.
I guess this is kind of an easy answer. But, like, I don't know if redemption arc is the way to put it, but Scandal's definitely shown the group that she's not on their side, but is absolutely not a bad guy. She just is whatever she wants to be. But that's also a cheap answer, because she's not being redeemed, and she wasn't really an antagonist in the strictest sense. No way, Tenebros. No way. He thinks the world is playground, and he does whatever he wants whenever. There's no way. He doesn't have the capacity to become good. Murkwire, I guess, maybe. Like, if I was going to say which ones were most likely, probably Murkwire. Especially given the players have set him on that path, though. So it's like, it's kind of easy to see it. I don't think, of all the main antagonists, though, I don't think any of them are going to come full around to being like, I'm a good guy now. I think it's going to be that they are going to, their role is going to change to align with different goals, but never be like, I'm one of your teammates now, hurdy-dur.
I also just think it'd be really funny to have a character say out loud, I'm a good guy now, as though they knew for a fact they had been a fucking huge dick
Chase,
the whole time.
That's how my games are. Didn't you know that?
Yeah.
People speak in no uncertain terms about where they stand on their fucking alignment chart.
People just say how they feel at all times.
When they first met Tenebros, they were like, why did you kill my master? And Tenebros was like, because I'm an evil fuck.
And they're like, oh yeah, I
Of course!
Oh, you.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Seinfeld music followed by cheering.
Yeah, dude.
Next question is for Avi. Dear Avi, the high standard seems to be pushing you out of your comfort zone a lot. Dancing, teasing you about crushes. Do you think this is inspiring positive growth or negative growth?
Oh. Yes, definitely inspiring growth. I think it is inspiring positive growth in a big way. She has taken a lot more chances lately, and she has found that she wants to, which is weird for her. because she's very much, like I've said, like she's very, very much set in her ways, doesn't trust very easily. But there's something about the highest standard that just kind of makes her want to try a little bit more. There's a couple different reasons that have pushed her in that direction. There was something, I think I wrote it down. I think Argo said to her, like when they were talking about going to see the High Lord, she had been told explicitly it's been said in game, so I don't mind saying it, but she had been told explicitly to avoid the High Lord at all costs. She didn't know why, but she'd been told by her mom to avoid him. And Argo just kind of said to her offhand, it's like, well, you got to take a chance sometime. And that started a stirring in her, and the more she was around the highest standard, it just kind of, she's felt a little bit more, she's having kind of out-of-body experiences. Where in the sense that she's like, doesn't really get yet why she's wanting to do these things, why she's wanting to kind of have a little bit more fun, but she is allowing herself to have fun, and the highest standard is really bringing that out of her in a way that she really hasn't had a chance to. There's not really been an opportunity because the person she'd usually hang out with lives in a different part of the city that she can't really get into very easily or at all, so it's hard to like go and do those things with that person. Like Rory, she can't really do too much, and even though she'd love to go and like spend more time together, it's hard. So I think being around the high standard is really healthy for her. So I think it's bringing out a side of her that she kind of forgot was there a little bit, and it's definitely positive growth, and I'm liking where she's going, and it's very fun to play with. But yeah, positive growth.
Well, I'm personally very sad that they're not very negatively affecting her growth, as I expected Quintus to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm dunking on Cody so much this
That's
particular Chat19. I really don't mean to.
So good. We love him.
He's a good man.
He's good.
Last question. The final question of this Chat19. What are some accomplishments in 2020 within Nat19 that you're proud of?
Okay. So, the first one is a heckin' big ol' mooshy one. I got to reconnect with Hayden. Because Hayden and I go back, I think, as far as like 2012, 2013, but we've never really had a chance to do all that much together. Beyond like fan dubs way back in the day, and it's really cool that we got to heckin' connect, and now we get to hang out so much, and now we've played through all of .hack, and heckin' Vestige made that a thing that happened, and I'm very happy about it.
Me too.
That's real neat.
Outside that, I've got a much stronger sense of D&D this year. There's been a lot of things in the group that I've been very excited about. There's no like singular events within 2020 within Nat19 that I'm like, yes, this exact event, because it's all been part of a gradual ongoing narrative. The tournament in general has gone really well. I think people thought it was going to be something else, but it ended but it's had like the narrative weight I'd hoped it was. The fact that everybody is so as into it as they are is heckin' exciting for me, because I was really worried about losing the branding of Fate and losing a lot of like people who were like, oh well, I was just here to watch Fate D&D. But the fact that Vestige has like maintained people's interests, even though it's a totally original world, that's really exciting to me. I released a lot of modules. I've started selling things and people are buying them and they're very successful. I released a handbook that's very successful.
Logan, future Logan, put a link to the store in the video description and or on screen.
Current Chase, every video has a link to it in it.
Good job, future Logan and present Logan. You're both working so well together. I'm so proud of your teamwork.
But yeah, that's a big thing. That I started selling things, and I've discovered a lot of value in this that I think, how to put this? This is something I want to pursue and make bigger going forward, and 2020 in particular, despite how just much of a goddamn dumpster fire this year has been for the world. One good thing that's come out of it for me is it's shown me that this is something I want to pursue more, and I've adjusted my priorities as such. And I don't know, it's a lot, and I've connected to a lot of people, and I've guest games happening has been really big for me, and like being able to bring other people into stuff. I wish I could say like singular events, but just been a lot of like the family that is Nat19 has been becoming stronger over this time, and it's been really nice to see, and it's been becoming more of a business, but just as fun as it ever was.
The family will soon be ready to attack and dethrone other families and subsume their power.
It's true.
I'm very excited for that. It'll be such a
We are the family, as you see.
Yes.
Yeah,
and what a good the family we all are.
Without continuing to mush, I think that about covers my feelings on that.
Well, I'm happy that we got to end on such a heckin' mushy answer.
Yeah.
I'm real happy about that.
Also, we picked up Hazme.
Woo!
Oh!
And I think that was a big thing for Nat19. I think that working with Hazme has been a huge highlight too.
Hasme's amazing.
Love Hazme.
God, so fucking talented.
For those wondering, Hazme's our character artist. That's who I'm referring to.
Logan, put a picture on screen that's already been on screen the entire time since the very beginning of this of Hazme's art that has already been on screen. Thank you, Logan.
Okay, I will. Current chase. Every single one of these always has the pictures of the two characters up on screen done by Hazme.
Perfect, but they'll never see it coming. They'll never see it coming. Well, thank you guys so much for coming by and answering all these questions that were submitted by all of our wonderful, wonderful fans.
Thank you,
It's been
guys.
such a good time. It's so heckin' good. Thank all of the fans for submitting all of these wonderful questions. Thank players for submitting questions. They asked a bunch of really good ones. We're not gonna play the game with the highest stakes ever conceived this time explicitly, but I will do my best to make a triumphant return next time. In the meantime, thank y'all so much. If you have questions that you want to submit, go to the link underneath this video in the description and click on it and send questions to the next guests, which will be Spencer and Carrie, because there was an episode that we recorded so very long ago that was a real good time, but the footage got lost for it, so we couldn't make it. So we gotta make up one that we got coming up, and that'll be so good, and I'm very excited for it. So submit your questions for Spencer and Carrie, and tell them how you feel. Just generally, let them know.
Let them know.
Tell us how you really feel.
You'll lay it all out so that they know. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Hayden, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at HeyBaleVoice. You can also find me sometimes. I'm going to try to pick back up. You can find me sometimes over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hayden Daviau. I sometimes stream over there. I play horror games and I'm bad at them and it's great. And I cry a lot. Or I cry on stream about dice.
Yeah.
Which happens.
It's true. Can verify.
That's its own kind of horror game.
I'm a horror game, you see, Chase.
And you can also find me over on Nat19 on Saturdays with Vestige of a Fucus, which is it's just this little game that we play. It's nothing major.
It's just a fun little game.
It's just a fun little thing.
But yeah, bother me on Twitter. I like when people bother me on Twitter. Do it.
Do
And
it.
I'm usually lurking in the Project Mouthwash Discord. So
If you've made it to this point in the video, send Hayden a gif of Alex Brightman's Beetlejuice.
Yeah, do it. I love him so much.
Logan, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me here. You can on heckin' Nat19. You can also find me. I'm just gonna say us. Just FYI, in case you guys wanted to, you can find us on Spotify and on iTunes in podcast form, because I don't think that we've talked about that enough. But Vestige and Type Moon are both up as heckin' Apple Podcasts and as Spotify podcasts. As for finding me, you can find me on Twitter at the Azure Crow. You can also find my other VA work across the Abridged community, but specifically fortified within the Project Mouthwash channel. And also DMing things here. Vestige, and soon in the next year, I'll be DMing heckin' the Devil May Cry game we're going to be running.
Oh, that'll be a very fun time.
Which is going to be a lot of fun. And beyond
Heck
that,
yeah.
I am merely the foundation upon which all of the other people within my work stands. So it's much more important that you find them than me.
We would not be here if it weren't for you, Logan, so it's very important that they find you.
Or else.
Or else.
Well, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all so much. Thanks for listening up to this point. Thank you. And we will see you next month for Chat19.